Welcome to the Powerful Marketing Tips Podcast, created for overwhelmed business owners who want to build, run, and organize their marketing for good. And here's a brief overview of our guest. Are you ready to unlock your selling game? Meet Ari Galper, the world's #1 authority on trust-based selling. Ari has been featured in CEO Magazine, Forbes, Inc. Magazine, Sky News, and the Australian Financial Review. He has created a unique and different sales approach based on trust and integrity called Unlock the Game. Listen to the interview to find out what are the 3 sales myths we need to confront and what are the 3 core principles to unlocking your sales game.
It's going to be a great episode today as marketing meets sales. The way I see it, unfortunately, too often still, is that these two are notoriously unfriendly, with each other. It's like the question of an egg and chicken, maybe. Which one was first? Is marketing more important or sales? Is there a way to really align those two? I believe we will get some great answers today, as we are very, very lucky to have the global authority in sales growth here with us today. Welcome, Ari, to our podcast.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, please walk us through your own journey as a starter. How did you end up working with the sales really so deeply? How did you become passionate about sales?
Sure. So I had an experience that happened to me about 20 years ago, which you probably can relate to possibly. I was a sales manager in a software company, and I was managing 18 people underneath me, salespeople. And we launched the first online website marketing tracking tools for websites. Now it's called Google Analytics.
Wow.
We have a dashboard system. And we are the first one to launch that product, and the company got bought over time. But it was an exciting time. Websites were new back then. People were interested in our product. And all the big leads came across my desk, the big opportunities. And this one company called in. I got the phone call, and they were a huge company, lots of websites, global business, and they wanted to see a demo of our product. And so I had a good conversation with the contact. We agreed to a conference call and a demonstration on that Friday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the day finally came. And if I close this one sale, it will double the revenue of the whole business in one transaction. That's how big it was.
Wow.
So it was a big opportunity.
Wow.
The day finally came, Friday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was in the conference room with my CEO. I closed the door behind me, big, long conference table. In the middle of the table was a speakerphone, the old speakerphones, the corporate phones. And I hit the dial tone. I dialed the phone number he gave me, and the phone rang, and he picks it up. He says, hello. I said, hey, how's it going? He says, good. And he says to me, Ari, let us tell you who's with us in the room today. And I said, great. Who's there? Next thing I hear is, my name is Michael. I'm CEO. I was like, oh, this is good. My name is Chris. I'm head of global IT. This is even better. My name is Julie. I'm head of marketing. Amazing. I mean, everybody on this call was a decision maker. Mm-hmm. They were all there at one time. What's going to happen? It's going to happen today. So I introduced myself, described what we do. We logged in, and they logged in. We gave them a live demo of our product in real time, capturing their data, other websites. And I'm showing this to them, and I'm clicking around, and I start hearing these noises on the phone call, like, wow, this is great. This is fantastic. We love this. They started asking me all kinds of questions. How does it work? The technology, our customers. Of course, I had all the answers. I was competent. I was friendly. I was answering questions. I was doing everything I was supposed to do that I was taught in sales. And so it was a fantastic call, wonderful chemistry. Mm-hmm. The call comes to a close an hour later, and my contact says to me, Ari, this is fantastic. We really need this. Look, give us a call a couple of weeks, follow up with us, and we'll move this thing forward. I said, oh, this is really good. I was so excited. I said my goodbyes, and I took my hand to reach for the speakerphone to the off button on the phone. As I'm reaching for the off button, by complete accident, now it's a divine intervention, I hit the mute button instead of the off button. They were right next to each other, and a small click happened, and they thought I hung up the phone.
Oh my God.
And that split second, a voice inside of me says, Ari, go to the dark side. Be a fly in the wall. Listen, and you have nothing to lose. So I pulled my thumb back just for a couple of moments. They started talking amongst themselves, thinking I had left the call.
Wow.
So, and you might know the story. What would you expect someone to say after a call like that after all those indications, what would you imagine they would have said?
I only hope good things.
That's exactly what I expected. I expected things like sounds great, let's be in touch with him. But let me share with you what I heard verbatim, word for word. And it's I'll never forget it. It's why we're all here today. What they said was this. They said, we're not going to go with him. Keep using him for more information. And make sure we shop someplace else cheaper.
Wow.
Knife in heart twist. I was in a state of shock. I couldn't believe it. I snapped out of bed. I hit the off button.
That's
I looked at
hard.
the wall. It was terrible. And I said to myself, what did I do wrong? I did everything I was supposed to do. I was friendly. I was competent. I was technical. I was relationship building. Everything. And the first big idea hit me. And that was this. That somewhere along the way, it has become socially acceptable not to tell the truth to people who sell. Right? It's okay to say things like, sounds good. Send me information. I'm definitely interested. Wait, send me a proposal without any intention of buying at all.
Wow.
And then I asked myself, why were they afraid to tell me the truth? Why were they playing a game with me? Why make me go through that process? And I realized there is a deep river of pressure that flows underneath the sales process with people who you're working with, who are prospects, inside your sales conversation with them. And if you aren't aware of that pressure consciously, you don't remove it from the process, what will happen is they'll always have their guard up. They'll hold back from you the truth. And they'll give you just enough for you to be excited and make you chase them. And I realized that's not right. It's dehumanizing and dysfunctional to have to chase somebody to get the truth. So I decided to invent my own process, my own mindset shift called Unlock the Game, where the idea is your goal is not to focus on the end goal of the sale at first. Your goal is to focus on how to build deep trust with them by having them trust you enough to be open up to you, be vulnerable with you, and tell you the truth. And that became the whole movement behind our trust-based selling approach we established 20 years ago. And of course, now it's helped thousands of businesses all over the world.
That's a great story, but I would love to hear how it ended, really. What happened after 2 weeks?
Well, what happened was they never called me back.
And?
I kept chasing them and no word back. And that was when I said to myself, this has to stop. I'm never going to chase anybody ever again.
Wow.
Because it's dehumanizing, it's unprofessional, and it lowers your authority. It's not right. So I have built a whole system to help people avoid that and also increase sales at the same time.
Wow, that's a great story, really. But I was still hoping for a happy end here, you know.
No happy ending there, but we will get to a happier place soon in this call, I promise.
Thank you. So, you know that I am a big fan of marketing myself, right? And I really believe it is, marketing is intertwined with everything inside your business, including sales, leadership, communication, client service, you know, all of this, right? And we are powerful marketers believe very strongly that marketing and sales can and should be aligned, not separated. So I believe my question to you is, what are your experiences maybe here? I don't know, which one comes first for you, or how you see those two are connected or should be connected?
Well, they are intertwined. If you simplify it, marketing is the ability to generate a lead, generate an interested customer. And sales is conversion, how to convert that lead into a paid client. If you boil everything down, it comes down to that. Lead generation, conversion.
It is.
So marketing is lead generation, conversion is sales. And so when you combine those together, you have a successful business. Now, where a lot of businesses break down is they generate leads, but their conversion rate's very low. So they may convert 1 out of 10 or 15 out of 100. And that's where they lose all their money, because they're selling the old way, chasing leads, and don't know how to build trust with people to convert at a higher rate. So we set a goal for our private clients when we teach them this, to set their objective for 100% conversion of their qualified lead.
Wow. 100% of conversion. That sounds amazing.
It's possible if you know how to build trust with people early on in the process. But if you don't, if you're just trying to sell your product or overdoing the relationship part or jumping in too early, then you'll lose the conversion.
But still, I think you agree with me that there are still businesses who don't care about those, soft things, I would say. Marketing, trust. It's only about pushing more sales and more and more. And I know you are talking a lot about, trust-based selling. Could you share here what is the core story behind this invention, really? How should one use it every day?
Well, the way to look at it first is to get people in this right mindset. You have to first address 2 or 3 core sales myths. And the first myth is the idea that the sales is a numbers game. And we've been brought up to believe it's all about the numbers, how many contacts you make, how big your network is. Well, we discovered this economy now, it's not about how many contacts you make anymore. It's about how deep you go on each conversation, because a sale is lost or made not in the CRM, it's lost or made inside the sales conversation. That's the first myth. The second myth is the idea that the sale is lost at the end of the process. And I'm sure you know over the year people have been trained to believe the sale is made at the end of the close. Well, we discovered in our research that the sale is not lost anymore at the end of the process. It's now lost at the beginning, at hello. And I'll prove it to you right now in a fun way. If someone calls your office tomorrow morning and you pick up the phone and you hear, hi, my name is, I'm with, we are a, what goes through your mind in about 3 seconds? Salesperson, right? So it's very easy for us to create that wall of mistrust by our approach. And the last myth is the idea of rejection, that sales rejection is part of the game. And we discovered that rejection is actually triggered by certain things you say and do that cause the other person to not respond to you, and it causes a loss of trust. So those are the 3 core principles, myths to really understand before I begin to lay in some new ideas.
Let's talk about those myths, because they are really out there. Sales is numbers game is the first one you just mentioned. And you talk how to go deep with those conversations, right? So is it, I understand this is all about actually building relationships and being there, serving your clients, right? But not every business owner, they don't know how to do this really. They are only out there for selling things. How should one approach, the client? If I'm thinking about the story you just shared at the beginning of our interview, what would you do differently today?
People ask me that a lot, and they say, oh, Ari, what would you do? Of course, if you know what you know now, 20 years ago. And here's what would have happened. What would have happened was I never would have had the conference call with them. Okay. Because I would have discovered on the first call of the gentleman what their true agenda was, what the truth was. And I would have disengaged if I felt like he wasn't being genuine with me, he wasn't being honest with me from the beginning. Because I would not be playing that game with them anymore. So our whole approach is that we believe the sale is made at the beginning of the process and not the end. It's how good you are at the beginning just to figure out who's trustworthy and who's not. And what you said earlier about the idea of certain businesses who just focus on the sale, focus on the sale. The problem with that is you lose more than you make. You burn lots of leads by not focusing on trust of the other person, by only focusing on your goal of the sale. It disconnects you from them feeling comfortable with you and opening up to you and telling you where they stand.
I agree. I like this, that sales is, the beginning, because I also think that those, the old sales funnels are like biased, right? They make you think that, the story ends when Cinderella kisses the prince and marries him, right? But this is not true. We all know that's where the story just begins, with endless discussions about life in the palace, right?
Yep. Absolutely right.
That's very good. So, but let's talk about rejection. You mentioned that as a third myth.
Yeah.
Can you explain this a little more?
Sure. I think people who are in sales believe that rejection is part of the game. You have to get more no's to get a few yeses. It's okay to get rejected. You have to have thick skin. You have to be tough. You have to get in there for the fight. Well, we rediscovered that there are certain things that we do unconsciously that causes rejection to happen. And if you are aware of those items and you remove the rejection from the process, then you build trust with somebody right away and there's no more rejection anymore.
Can you share some tips here to our listeners?
Sure. So one trigger of rejection is languaging. The words and phrases that you use that appear to be sales oriented. I'll give you an example. Let's do an example. Let's say you're on a call with somebody for the first time, a lead, a good opportunity. First conversation, good, they're qualified, good chemistry, call comes to a close. Usually at the end of a call like that, we say things like what in sales? We say, how about we get together, have a cup of coffee, move forward. To see, we're trained to move things where? Forward, right? towards a sale. But what happens if you try and move things forward from the beginning, and what do you break with them, right? If they're not ready yet from the beginning. You break trust, right? So in our model, we don't try and move them forward. Instead, we work on building trust with them. We change our languaging. So here's what we do. In the same scenario, call is going well, good chemistry, call comes to an end, rather than saying, hey, how about we get together? What we say instead is this. We say, where do you think we should go from here?
And then they will tell you.
Yes, and then you shift the responsibility to them, and they, first of all, they're in a state of shock. They can't believe somebody would ask them what they want to do. That's so unusual because they're so used to being sold and pulled down a process. By you saying, where do you think we should go from here? They then begin to open up to you and say things like, well, I've got one more question. What about this? And the truth comes out, and there's no rejection.
I love it because this is, nobody really expects that, right? And what I usually do also when meeting people, I ask, how can I help you? And I see this is also something that people are not ready. They're okay. Nobody really asks those things.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, that's very good. So languaging. What else?
Yes. Other tonality, the voice tone of your delivery of the words.
Tonality.
So if you say to them, "Hey, where do you think we should go from here?" It's sales energy. The goal is not to create momentum with your delivery, because you create momentum with people, that puts pressure on them. So your goal is to remove the momentum. So you lower your voice, you say calm, softly, you say this, you say, where do you think we should go from here?
Wow, that is so strong.
And when you lower your voice, they engage with you. When you're strong with your energy, they push away from you.
Yeah, it's being like too aggressive, you know. I get your point.
You'd be surprised how quickly they judge you based on your languaging and based on your approach.
Okay, that's very strong. Languaging, tonality. What's next?
The other thing is mindset, and that is to focus on being problem-centric, not solution-centric. What that means is you have to shift to what I call a doctor-patient relationship.
How?
A mindset as a doctor. So when you're talking to a new potential client, your goal is not to build a relationship with them.
You have to help them.
Your goal instead, is to diagnose their problem like a doctor does. When you go see a doctor, what do they say to you right away? They say to you, first thing they say, where does it hurt? They don't say, how are you? How's it going? Nice to meet you. What do you do? So nice to meet you. They don't do any relationship building for a reason, because they know if they mix relationship building with their professional process, it gets all messy at the end, and the patient doesn't listen to the doctor's request. So I learned, and I teach my clients, to try and build a relationship with someone, because first of all, they know it's fake. Secondly, they don't want to become your friend. And thirdly, they want their problem solved. But we've been taught in sales, our job is to build relationships with people. And I tell my clients, you build a relationship with somebody after they're a client, not before they're a client.
Wow, I love it. You build relationship after. And first you become their doctor.
Yes, exactly. You diagnose and you unpack their problem, because when you're able to diagnose their issues and amplify them and peel the onion back more, they feel that you understand them at a deep level. And that feeling is resonating. When you resonate with someone, it's a vibration. They feel this connection to you because you're the only one who's not trying to prescribe a solution before you diagnose the problem. See, in sales, we're taught to present our solution once we qualify somebody. So the goal is not to qualify them. The goal is to build trust with them. And from that, you'll discover whether you're fit with them or not.
And that is a powerful way to really build this trust, I believe. Because
correct.
The way it sounds to me, you know, especially now since the coronavirus came and everything, it's like people are getting back to the roots, you know. People are no longer taking every flashing advert or seemingly irresistible promise, you know, into consideration even, right? So I don't know.
People are very skeptical.
They are. But why do you think it is so?
Because of the mistrust that's so common now from politicians to business people, salespeople. It's very hard to trust someone because everyone seems to have a hidden agenda for themselves.
I agree. And people are, you know, both more sensitive than before to information in the sense that they feel, I don't know, dislike and rejection for it, right? So
they're very alert to people who are not authentic.
But another thing I see, I don't know if you agree here. Sure, one is mistrust, you know, distrust in marketing is also a very huge thing nowadays. But there is also this information overload, and it's very hard to really choose, right?
Look, I tell my clients, stop educating your prospects. Stop doing free consulting.
It's too much.
Stop over-delivering on value. Stop giving value pre-sale. They should pay for that post-sale. Rather than giving value, instead, provide clarity. Provide clarity on their issues more than they themselves understand. That's what creates trust. They don't need more education. They don't want more information. They really don't. In fact, they don't really care about how you solve their problem. What they care about is if you are the one to solve it or not.
Wow, so really it is all about being this doctor. That's very strong in my head right now to have this diagnose done for the clients, really.
It's a mindset shift, and I'm working on a new book next year called The One Call Sale.
Okay, and
it will teach people how to compress your sales cycle from multiple steps into one single conversation, like a doctor in a clinic with a patient.
That's amazing. When can we expect the book?
Probably later next year.
Okay. So but you know, time flies. So no worries.
But right now, I'm giving that information to my clients, private clients, coaching them on this now.
So if you think of our listeners right now, what would you say to those overwhelmed small business owners out there? You know, they want to excel in sales, and marketing, but they often just really don't know how to do that at once. Where should they start? Should they, I don't know, end with marketing and start with being a doctor? How to see that?
You obviously need some leads first. You need to do some marketing to get leads. But once you have your leads, what you don't want to do is start selling. Instead, ask yourself, how can you build trust with them? By listening, asking deep questions, and going what I call down the iceberg with them. It's a metaphor I created where you unpack and unfold their issues at a very deep level, where you amplify what their issue is and you identify the impact of not solving the problem. Then you ask this question. You say, is this a priority for you to solve once and for all? Or is it something you want to live with and deal with later on? And I'm okay either way.
So you should really unlock the game, right? As you said.
Unlock the sales game. Exactly. That's what the program is called. And that's what we teach people to do is detox and decondition themselves away from the old framework that no longer works anymore.
I'd like to hear more about this, and I know our listeners are also interested in that. Could you walk us through the unlock the sales game?
Sure. So let me give you an example of a scenario that happened to me recently, and walk you through an example of this once you really understand how to use this. So recently I had a phone call, came to my office, got through my team, got to me, and I picked the phone up and I heard Mr. Galper. Yes. And my name is Mark Johnson. I'm making the name up. I'm with XYZ company, very big company. And he says to me, we're looking to bring someone in like yourself to work with a sales team. We'd like to know, first of all, why should we go with you? Why you're the best? And give me your best sales pitch.
What did you do?
He says this to me. So I took a deep breath. I lowered my voice. I got back in my mindset. I got centered. And I said this to him. I said, well, isn't that interesting?
And that's it?
Yep. And then I paused for a few minutes. And then I said, over here at our company, we have a very similar process to you, where we ask some questions, gather information to see if we're a good fit. And if we're a good fit, we decide where to go from there. And I said to him, would you be open to that?
So it's a two-way street, always.
And next thing on the phone, you know what I heard? Nothing. Dead silence. Then I felt his breath. He actually breathed across. I felt his breath across the phone. I could tell he lowers his shoulders. He's very relaxed. He lowers his voice and he says to me, okay, what kind of questions do you have for me?
I love it. That's great.
Next thing I know, in 5 minutes I discover, 1, he's not a decision maker. 2, he has no budget. And 3, he's just curious as to what I do. And off he went to the internet, first my information up there. I hung up the phone. Now, what did my process save me months of?
It really saves you time. First and the foremost.
Chasing ghosts.
Yep.
Chasing people who are never going to buy. In fact, there's this drug in our bodies, and it makes us chase people like that. You know what it's called?
Adrenaline?
It's called hopium.
Okay, I don't know that.
Hopium drug? It's the hope. You get so excited. You're like, oh, I hope I get this call. I hope he's there. You get so excited. You got the hopium drug, and you call them. They don't call you back, and then you say, why is not calling? And you go to your computer, open your email, and you write, hi, I'm writing you to what? To follow up on our conversation, right? So I'm going to ask you and all your listeners right now to take a verbal oath with me to never again, as of this recording, in your career, never in sales, use the word follow-up ever again as of today.
Okay.
Never again. Use it on email or phone calls.
Okay.
What's the only industry in the world that uses the word follow-up?
Sales? Everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Exactly. So when you call someone and say, hi, I'm calling to follow up, they're thinking, all she wants from me is a sale.
Yeah. Oh.
What the salespeople do. So we have our own languaging. So instead of follow-up, what you say instead is this. You say, I'm giving you a call to see if you have any feedback on our previous conversation. Any feedback on our proposal. So your feedback's going backwards, away from the sale, not towards the sale. That's the goal. Your goal is to go the reverse direction of what they're used to. That's why these ideas, they're very contrarian. They're not made for everybody. Only those who are open-minded to facing the truth of their own situation and willing to change and adapt to be a superstar.
Wow, that's strong. And I love the hopium drug.
Everyone does.
That's amazing. But okay, so this, do I understand correctly that this is what you help actually businesses to do in your, unlock the sales game?
I help them make a transformation. I help them detox from the old way of thinking. I help them realize that they're doing certain behaviors they're not even aware of is causing them to lose the sale.
Wow. It seems like we all need you. Really, Ari. So please share where you want people to go if they want to learn more now about what you do, because I'm sure they do want to.
Well, there's a free video you can go watch called, it's at unlockthegame.com/video. They can watch a video that describes more of this. Also, LinkedIn. Connect with me there, say hello. I have a show there once a month called Stump the Guru, where you can jump on, ask me any question you want, any sales scenario you want, and I'll help you with that. But LinkedIn, you'll find me there, say hello, or go to unlockthegame.com. My book is there. You can buy it on Unlock the Sales Game as well.
Wow, love it. And we will put the link next to this video also, and this audio as well, audio link as well. So Ari, before we go, would you like to say something to wrap it up, Paul? Or for those?
I'll leave you with one quote.
Yep.
And that is this, that if you take this away, then I'll feel like I made a difference today. And that is this: stop selling and build trust instead. You'll double your sales by doing that.
I love it. It will go, on top of our quotes list. That's the most important, I believe. But please share.
Sounds good.
Please share and comment also the beforehand shared song. How is that inspiring for
Well,
you?
I like the song by Maroon 5 called Girls Like You. It just changes my mood. It gets me in a good place to get my work done. And whenever I do webinars, I play that song when I begin my talks.
Wow, that's amazing. It will also go to our song list. Thank you, Ari, so much.
Sure.
I appreciate, all the work you have done, and thank you for sharing really your thoughts here with our listeners today. So, keep on doing this great work with helping companies growing their businesses every day, by unlocking the sales game.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
That's all we've got for this episode of the Powerful Marketing Tips Podcast. Make sure to link up with us at our free monthly international mastermind event. Just go to powerful-marketers.com/mastermind for registration. And one thing that would really help us and other new potential listeners is if you would rate this show and leave a comment wherever you tune in to listen. Until next time, take care.